Okay, so hello and welcome. Thank you for being here. I am Dr. Alexis. I am a doctor of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. I'm the founder of the Expansion Principle Institute, which is co-founded with a non-physical entity, with a non-physical being, with Simon. I'm a channel of Simon. I've been working with him about 9 years in this lifetime. He refers to us as binary stars, and so our souls differentiated from source at the same moment, and we hang out together. And so as binary stars do, they stay in orbit with one another. And so that's what we do, and we do our work, which is to spread not just the message, but the really vital information that expansion is the natural state of consciousness, and that's something that really helps us anchor into our sovereignty. So those are two main things I talk about a lot in all of my work is sovereignty. So for me, sovereignty is the ownership of oneself, of one on a soul level. So we have a lot of that talk in terms of, the physical and on the three-dimensional world, but on a consciousness, on a soul level, each one of us, we are the owner of our consciousness. It's ours, right? And so there's a lot of stickiness that will occur with sovereignty and with all those sorts of things, but we don't need to. It's funny that we're going that deep into that. Maybe some of you need to hear that today. But yes, consciousness as the natural state, as you can see that, a lot of times in spiritual development work and personal development work, there's a desire to better oneself. And what we found is that desire, if you really tune into your soul and you anchor into that, it's not really because there's anything wrong with you or broken with you or anything the matter. It's just it truly is the natural state to move into a more state. And it's just one of those unfolding of recognizing more of oneself, which is a really neat and beautiful thing. Today, what we'll be doing is we will be channeling with Simon specifically. We'll ask him a global question to start, which is, will you just speak to the full moon that we had yesterday and a lot of the timeline shifting that we've had in the last 10 days. And so we'll have him talk about that a little bit, and we'll go into who is familiar with timelines and timeline shifting. Some of us not. Okay, so I haven't. So we can ask him, will you speak on timelines, explain it a little bit to us, and then will you speak to
the planetary changes right now?
Changes right now.
Are huge.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And I've noticed there's a lot in the last 4 years, so since 2020. There was in about January, February of 2020. And there have been these periods of times where to explain a timeline, there's this concept, who knows about parallel experiences, parallel lives? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what that is, it's the idea that we have our life. Oh, who knows the movie Sliding Doors? I know it's getting older, so fewer people know. I know. That's what happens when you get older, right? It's like, oh, that was yesterday. It's like, no, Alexis, that was a 25-year-old movie. I know. Well, it's funny because kids will not, my child has told me, you were born in the 1900s. I'm like, what are you even talking about, the 1900s?
You picture the wagon and the horses.
Yeah. I'm like, fine, I guess technically. So parallel lives have to do with the idea that we aren't just experiencing life in this moment. So it has to do with the multiple world theory. And multiple world theory is an actual quantum physics theory, that in each moment, every decision we make, we will bifurcate and we'll have little divergences, if you will, and our consciousness experiencing them all. And so this is different than past lives or future lives or anything like that. This is you as who you are right now. Myself as Alexis will have innumerable parallel lives. And what's really interesting about that, when you start to play with it, that feeling where it's not quite deja vu, but something feels familiar. Mm-hmm. There's sometimes that. There's also sometimes we'll notice other aspects of ourselves having a different experience. And so I've noticed that when you make a big decision, last winter I got divorced, and so that's a big shift. That's something where, it's a very sliding doors moment where it's choice A or choice B. You stay or you go. Those two lives look really different. And so things like that will create and what I've noticed is when you're close to it, you can feel the reverberation of those other choices. And so sometimes when we don't have language for that, you just can kind of notice for some people it's an uneasiness, and for other people feels like you're almost being drawn to a different choice, even though the choice you're making is correct. I don't know if any of you have ever felt that, where it's almost just this weird sort of sensation. And so I like to talk about these sorts of things because as our consciousness is rising and as we're becoming more awakened as a whole on the planet, timeline shifting is something that's occurring at a greater degree. It used to be much more minute, and it used to be a lot more personal, where individuals would have these sorts of experiences, where now we still are on an individual level, but we also are on like a really global level as well, kind of going together, traveling together in these big bifurcations. Things like, we will not go into it, but things like elections, things like massive events where everyone is aware of. Another way to think about and to understand timelines is anyone familiar with the Mandela effect? Okay. So Mandela effect, we'll have to have these all in the email. When I email you, I will put all of the little things that I'm referencing. But the Mandela effect was, gosh, what year was it? I should remember this.
86, 84.
Was it 86?
There,
yeah. So what it was Nelson Mandela. Some people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 80s. And other people remember him actually getting out of prison and not dying until I think 2000, right?
Yeah.
2000 something.
Yeah.
7 maybe or 8, like a big difference. And so that was known as the Mandela effect, that you have groups of people that have in the world that have vastly different memories of really significant events. Aretha Franklin was another one. I know that seems so mundane that there's not a lot of literature about it, but I did notice it. And it was something I personally noticed which I remember her dying twice. So, so there's things like that. Just different events where large groups of people, Berenstain Bears and Berenstain Bears. So there's a lot of little things where, and there's people who say, oh, well, we're just collectively remembering things differently. And that just seems a little absurd, and it really puts down our intelligence, I think, and the beauty of the human mind and the human experience. And so there's a lot of really beautiful understandings about that. And I'll write a lot of different things, and I'll give you links to different ways to research that for those of you who are interested in knowing more about that. But timeline work is something I talk about a lot, and I teach on, and I have a course on timelines and all that kind of thing.
You think we're getting close to get started?
I think we're getting close.
Okay, so in just a moment, Alexis will drop into Becoming Simon. When that happens, when you guys came in, you signed up and you became a number. So rather than me calling on you, would you like to talk or ask your question? Would you like to? Simon is actually going to call on you as your number. And so when he says, say, number 7, that's Christy, 8 is Chris, 6 is Glossia. You don't have to remember this. I'll remind you. Kylie, you're 5. Donna, you're 4. Marianne is 3. Grow, you're 2. And Cynthia, you were 1. So when he calls, that's going to be your turn to ask your questions of him. Okay? So is that good? Does anybody have any other questions before we get
What if
started?
we're like starstruck and we're like, I can't think of a question.
Great question. Yeah, so what you can do is, if you do have a burning question, if you do have something you want to ask, by all means do ask it. And if you don't, asking for general guidance is 100% okay. And then sometimes with the general guidance, he'll start riffing essentially on a topic for you. And this is whether it's general or there's a question. And what will happen is he may ask you questions. So I'm actually going to have us move around. Do you want to scoot a little bit that way? And then I'm going to have Glossia move a little bit this way. That way you all can see and are stacked. Does that feel good?
Yes, I'm good here.
Okay, great. because I can see
Yeah,
us
almost
trying to
like-
look
Oh,
and
that's
like,
nice,
does that
yeah.
feel good?
Nobody's hidden from
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I like that.
Well, and for them too, because I know it feels good to. Okay,
Yeah.
wait,
Chris, you might could come over just a notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever
Like
you-
right in the middle of the girls there. There you go.
There,
Yeah.
we're perfect. Okay. So it may feel pressury, but it's not going to be too pressury. And it's really, sometimes he'll engage in a dialogue essentially with you. So some examples are if someone asks about a relationship with a parent, let's say, and he's bringing up some memories or some thoughts or some ideas for you and says, what about this? How does that feel for you? Do you remember what this, or those sorts of things? Or there'll be a connection of wanting to bring something out for you that's going to connect to what he's saying. For some people, you may find yourself disconnected from what he's saying to you. Some people will deny what it is that he's saying, and that's 100% okay too. What I do ask is just to be open to whatever's coming up, that there might be something later for it to percolate within you. I've found almost every single time it'll be there somewhere. Sometimes you have subtle things in us, and yeah. But he may ask you questions that lead you to your own understandings, because that's something that's we've found is pretty important to him, is that you come to your understandings. Because one thing, it's beautiful for somebody to tell us something, but it's even more significant when we have that moment of like, oh yeah, I get that. What's really beautiful about this experience that you're about to have is that it isn't just information. It's an actual experience that you're having. Something is changing within you, and hearing this and being in the presence of the energy. One of the things we didn't talk about too much is that Simon and I channel an energy healing modality called the expansion principle. Similar to Reiki. Reiki is universal life force energy, but what we found is that it's very much related to Earth and this dimensional reality and this experience that we're having. And we can see the hot mess that human beings have gotten themselves into. So having energies that are extra dimensional are quite helpful. And there's quite a few on the planet right now that are introducing themselves to assist people in shifting things. The expansion principle is one of those, and it helps heal at the seed and helps shift things. We have about, I believe we have just under 50 practitioners all over the world right now. And we've been training them about 6-7 years. We've been offering the trainings. I bring that up because the energy is something that it does just emanate when he's talking to us. So we have a little bit of healing while we're having our experience of shifting. So I think I did answer your question, Kylie. And then does anyone else have any questions before we start?
So with my experience with Alexis and with Simon, so you will feel a shift in the energy when Simon comes in. And if by chance you are the first person to get called on, don't be nervous. If you do feel nervous or maybe feel like you didn't quite say what you wanted, we could come back or something, come around.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll go really smooth. So it rolls out, and it's just lovely. So it takes a minute to get used to the energy, but I think everybody will love it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're ready.
Are you ready?
Okay, yep. See you in a little while. Yes, we may be beginning.
Good morning, Simon.
Yes.
And welcome to Gypsies here in beautiful Brookings. And we're very blessed to have you with us this morning. Would you like to begin by giving us a global message? We know there's a lot of planetary changes and new moons and the age of Aquarius and lots of exciting things happening. Could you speak to us on that just to begin?
Yes. One of the most important things for you each to be tuning into is the knowingness of whom you are and a knowingness of your general okayness. Yes, because what happens quite often is that people reside in the energetics of fear, and something quite important that is occurring is that fear is being transmuted in quite a large way. But people are being given the option of, would they like to be a fear being, or would they like to be a being that is more centered in the expectation and eminence of love, yes, the frequency of love, and what this is meaning. Very much love has much to do with the energetics of expansion, yes, and this is a choice. Would you like to be tuning into the energetics of fear? Yes, this is quite an important thing. This is the general lens that you want to be moving through the world on, is whether or not you're choosing fear or not. Yes, are you able to view your experience in an expansive way? Yes, in this, most importantly, it allows for you to move through the energetic shifts. Yes, move through the alteration of the timeline. And what we are meaning by the alteration of the timeline is there are specific forces. In this particular way, we're talking about individuals who are awakening themselves. These are powerful forces, including yourself, of being able to create positive alterations of what could have been perhaps not quite a lovely experience on the earth, but the alterations are allowing there to be a quite different awakening, which is quite what is being desired, as that is anchoring in with the reactivation of sovereignty on the planet. Yes.
Yes. So there's a lot of talk, Simon, about letting go of what doesn't serve you, and coming into preparing for this age of Aquarius, and what you do want going into the new life. Do you have anything to speak on that?
Yes, what does it mean to be served by something or not? Yes, there are quite a bit of things that would be thought to be on the negative list of human beings that are quite helpful and serve oneself quite greatly. Yes. So you want to be aware of what does that mean, in what way are you serving yourself, what is your trajectory forward, what are you wanting to expand into, what are you wanting to be, whom are you truly, yes, whom would you like to be expressing, yes, what are your value systems, and in that way does that serve the trajectory in which you're moving into. Something that's quite great, quite important, is also allowing yourself to be tuned into your soul self more and more and more. Yes, and when you're doing that, that is the question of what you're asking, which is releasing anything that is not in service of the expansion of self, anything that is not in service of the full expression of oneself. Yes. But you must be quite clear on what exactly it is you would like to be serving, yes?
Yes, yes. So would it be a good idea then to, in meditation or that type of thing, be putting out into the universe at this time what we wish to achieve as we move forward in a more positive way?
Oh, yes, this is always quite important, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you must be quite clear, though, if you are still wanting to be expressing and wanting to be creating things from the human self, it might be a quite better of thing to be asking oneself to be most tuned into oneself first. It simply depends on where you are in your trajectory of expansion and your trajectory of awakening, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you precisely? And these are questions you may be asking within meditation. Where am I precisely? What would be most helpful for me to be focusing in on? Yes? Asking more open-ended questions within meditation can be also quite helpful in this way. Rather than simply deciding with your human mind what would be best for you, you want to be tuning into your soul, and you ask, I would like to be more tuned into my soul self-expression. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Simon about that? Anybody? Would you like to get started on personal inquiries?
Yes, we can be doing that.
Okay, would you like to start with a number?
Yes, we'd like to be beginning with the number 7.
Okay, number 7 is Christy.
I would like to know about my karmic relations, my relationships with my karmic.
Yes, just a moment. Yes, karma is quite an interesting thing in which it's spoken about within the modern way. It has been quite different depending on when you would be living, the way in which karma would be expressed and explained. Yes, what is having to do with primarily is having to do with your spiritual soup. Spiritual soup is something we must be discussing at this time. The spiritual soup is all that you are. Yes, it is your past, present, future, your ancestry, your past lives within the ancestry. Yes. the ancestry of the past lives, all of the potential information, all the potential choices, all the potential experiences that you have had. Yes. And within that, what you want to be talking about is the experiences now. When you ask your relationship with your karmics, you are speaking specifically about the individuals who you carry a heavy just a moment for the most precise way to be saying it. Individuals that you've had remembrances with, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Would you like to expand on that a little bit more, Christy, after hearing that?
What would you like to be knowing specifically, yes?
The karmic cuts that I have made, are they permanent? Are they correct?
Are you having to say the resolution of karma? We are trying to speak the same language as you are speaking, so please give us more information of the way in which you think about this, yes?
Like we were saying earlier, you cut off things that no longer serve you. I have cut off several family members that no longer serve me, and I'm still struggling. Is this the right choice?
Oh yeah, this is quite a different thing. Those are not individuals that had to do with your karmic path on a soul level, yes? It's quite different. And what is occurring, we'd like to be explaining something a little bit more broadly. Would it be quite all right with you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. When an individual soul chooses to come into a particular family, it is sometimes because there is a matching of your energetics, yes, with the energetics of that family that will allow for a resolution of your energetics. But it does not always mean that that particular family has karmic relationships with you. Does that make clear sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is why they feel a bit foreign to you, yes?
Yes.
There's quite a strangeness to them.
Yes.
It is because you do not have karmic relationships with them. Is that clear? It has to do with a matching that you had, energetics that that you came in with, yes, from experiences you had previously with other souls, yes? And so it's simply an awareness of, oh, this isn't what I would like to be having, so I may have resolution of this energetics within my soup so that I can move forward in a different way, yes?
Yes.
Yes, and that has occurred. It has occurred quite clearly. The issue here is that the next piece at hand is having to do with what we'd like to be saying is that the honey part of yourself, that sweet part of yourself, that sweet stickiness, yes?
Yes.
Yes, that sweet stickiness is the part that says, oh, we must go back, we must go back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but there's no obligation to these individuals. There's no obligation to harming oneself, yes?
Yes.
Yes, that must be quite clear. It is quite important to be doing that, but it is also integral for you to be understanding that these are not individuals that you have any debt with. This is very important for you to have a clarity with, because your soul knows this, but your mind, your human mind does not. And your human mind and your human self has an interesting soft hardness to it, yes?
Yes.
And what gets you is the softness, yes?
Yes.
Yes. And what we'd like to be quite clear is that you haven't done anything wrong. Yes, there is no debt. This is very important. There is a thought within you, within your field, that you are thinking you owe someone something, that there is a debt to someone, yes? There is not a debt to someone, because this is not, the energetics that you're clearing out did not begin with them.
Okay.
Yes. This is not always the case with everyone. Let's be quite clear. There are individuals that come back in and they are, in fact, having relationships with people people who have souls that they've had relationships with before. Is that more clear?
Yes.
That is not the case in your case.
Okay.
Does that answer for
It
you,
does.
Christy?
Very much. Thank
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Simon.
There's a freedom that is
Okay.
necessary to grant yourself, yes?
you. Yes.
Yes. We would like to be offering you
Very
a
nice.
remembrance to that, yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Very nice. Thank you for bringing that up at the end there, Simon. Where would you like to go next?
We would like to be going to 5.
Number 5 is Kylie.
Since talking about that, Simon, can you talk about soul family versus our DNA family?
Yes. You are curious if sometimes the soul family comes in as the DNA family as well, yes?
constantly cycling with us. Yes.
It occurs at times, but it doesn't happen as often as you think it will. What it does happen is that because you are within that ancestry, there's a reverberation within your ancestry, yes? And so there's the feeling of familiarity because you can feel within the line similar things have happened throughout the line. So there's a reverberation of these patterns. But the different souls often are in coming into each of those ancestral pieces. But there's an interesting reverberation that you can feel when you're inside of the DNA, yes? Your spiritual soup is filled with your spiritual DNA, yes? Your spiritual DNA is quite interesting because it is everything past, present, future, all of the things. It is quite larger. Many of you have galactic, angelic, interdimensional, all sorts of different things, yes? Having to do with your DNA that has nothing at all to do with in this one small life, yes? But there's a reverberation that is occurring, meaning we would like to explain this more clearly. Let's say that an individual's biological mother, yes? And that energetic has played out 7 generations previously, yes? And the great grandmother. And the same interactions and the same dynamics were played out by 2 different souls, but they're within the same line, yes? You will feel that reverberation, and sometimes it feels as though you were that individual, but you are not. It's a familial DNA, energetic blueprint, yes, which is quite different. It's a bit confusing, if you will. And there are times when soul families do incarnate, they choose to incarnate within genetic families, but it doesn't happen as often as you'd think that it would happen. There are individuals, soul families. What soul families are, in quite a lot of ways, is the moment in which you differentiate from source. We would come from that point of view, yes? That all individual soul consciousnesses, we're all one of one another, yes? And there's a moment you differentiate. You differentiate from that source, and in that moment, there are other individuals that can be differentiating as well and have a first experience together, yes? Is that quite clear? And in those first experiences, there's a resonance that will occur that many times those experiences will be wanting to be had over and over again. There is also sometimes, not every soul has this experience, but there are pods, if you will, that have the ability to be communicating with one another, whether they are incarnated or not, yes?
Interesting.
Can I ask another question?
Yes.
If you continue to reverberate or attract the same vibrational family, whether it be soul or DNA, as speaking of karma, is that something that is unresolved? Why would you continually cycle the same familiarity without there being a reason?
Oh yes, we did not say there was not. It's such a very good question. There's 2 aspects. The first aspect we would like to be saying is that this is why it is quite helpful to be doing ancestral healing, because in very many ways you could say, okay, Kylie, you yourself, Kylie, only were in your ancestral line this one time as Kylie. Why would you take the time to do the ancestral healing? But it is so significant because any other soul that comes into the line in the future, meaning progeny, children of any kind, whether they are related through you or whomever, yes? Onward and onward and onward. You want to be clearing the energetics, whether or not your soul is coming back as within that particular ancestry, because that helps clear up the energetics for any other souls that are coming in. Is that part more clear?
Yes.
There's a lack of that occurred. And because there was a lack of that, there's quite a lot of healing that is occurring at this time, because you have very many millennia of ancestral lines that are quite fucked up, if you will. Alexis is a bit disturbed that we said that, but
It's okay. We forgive her.
When you think about how fucked up that is, those that chose to go into the ancestral healing almost blinded, get almost in this playing of our family, it's an upsetting. It's not always healing, it's also upsetting. What do you say, Simon, to someone that gets blackballed for choosing to do that level of healing?
There are so many other individuals that can give you the love that you desire and that you deserve to be having, and that you are not required to be beholden to physical genetic family. It isn't necessary to have all our needs met from those spaces and all of those places. It is quite a difficult thing because genetics are quite strong. Yes. And what we mean by that is the sensation. Your human is very connected. Will tell you, oh no, we have to see the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, the uncle, the grandfather, yes? But this isn't necessary. It's freeing oneself from that, yes?
Question. As far as a person tries to run from it, it feels like it keeps coming in different bodies. I can run from my own DNA, in which I came from, and go to another circle, and yet the circle seems the same, just different faces.
Yes.
Help.
Yes. Just a moment, because Alexis is deciding how much you'd like for us to be sharing of her personal experience and information. Just a moment. One of the primary things that is quite helpful in this case is for you yourself to remember whom and what you are. You have not quite remembered whom and what you are, have you? When you do that, you will no longer have to seek things outside yourself. And when you stop seeking outside of yourself, then what you attract, the point of attraction changes, and you're able to have a different experience, yes? You don't need to keep seeing the individuals that are of your birth family within the groupings as you were describing, yes? There are very many reasons why individuals have done this in the past. What we'd like to also be saying is that there is a great change that has occurred. And sometimes your decision making has to catch up with your energetics.
Does that feel good,
Mm-hmm.
Kylie?
Much better.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you, Simon. Where would you like to go next?
3.
So we are going to Marianne.
Hello, Simon. I'm at a crossroads in my life. I'm going through a divorce. And
Congratulations.
You're so right. So I feel now free to start exploring my spiritual life. I have more time. I'm retiring. My whole life is at a crossroads. So I'm just seeking, in general, your input. I'm thinking about moving away. And I guess the bottom line question is, what can I be doing to get more in touch with my spiritual life and the collective consciousness, and what is my purpose? How can I serve humanity more?
What very big, beautiful questions, yes. We'd like to be reminding you that your life is beginning, yes.
Thank you.
It isn't so much at a crossroads, it is that it is so full of potentiality and possibility, yes. It is like a beautiful garden that you get to tend to of possibility now. We'd like for you to be thinking about it that way rather than a crossroad where there's a right and wrong way. Because the crossroads was very many years ago and you made a choice, yes? But now you're at a place where you get to do the next phase, and what you're doing is you're cultivating a garden, yes? You're cultivating a garden of possibilities. We'd like for you to be doing all of the things, yes? All of the things that you had kept yourself from doing, all of the things that you've made yourself quite small, yes? And the choices that you're making and the things and the interests that you had were a fraction of what you actually would like to be doing. Would like to be inviting you to do first and foremost is how would you like to be expressing, because the way that you express yourself meaning the way that you speak, the way that you dress, the way that you think about yourself from the inside out, is much smaller than you actually are, yes? So we would like to be inviting you to be looking at the mundane things being a very spiritual connection to yourself, yes? Perhaps that coat that you thought was a bit too loud. Yes. Perhaps that song that you never thought you could sing out loud. Yes. Those are the things we'd like for you to begin doing. And of course, there are the regular things such as meditation and those sorts of connections. But at this point, your job, your purpose is to express yourself. Yes. And in your expression, it's an incredible connective experience. In very many ways, all individuals on the planet, your purpose is to express yourself and to connect to one another. And in that, it is quite a uniqueness. And one could say innumerably varying way of expressing oneself and innumerable purposes in the way that that expression comes out, yes. But it is all beautiful and quite important. But it is very important for you to recognize and to realize that there is quite a lot of time. There is often the thought that perhaps there isn't enough time for certain things, yes. But there's quite a lot of time, yes.
Thank you.
That's lovely. You
Thank
comfortable
you so
with
much.
that, Marianne? Thank you, Simon. Where would you like to go next?
One.
Cynthia.
Hello, Simon. I have a problem with my sister, my only other relative that's living. I feel as though she's hated me all my life. I'm the baby. She's next to me, older. And I don't know how to handle her anymore. She's out of control. And I don't know what to do with it, if anything. She's affected my entire family. And I need some guidance.
There are very many ways to be answering this, yes. The words handled, we must think of that for a moment, yes. You handle things with your hands, yes.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like your hands to be doing? Are they gentle hands? Are they harsh hands? Yes. Some individuals are not meant for handling. Some individuals are meant for saying goodbye to, yes. The lesson of boundaries for very many individuals on this planet is quite strong. There's a confusion about what it means to be open and what it means to be compassionate, and the message has gone a little bit awry that means to put yourself last, and there's a bit of detriment that is occurring to individuals when they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most loving thing that you can do for yourself is the most loving thing you can actually do for her. Yes.
I don't think I can do anything for her anymore.
I asked what the most loving thing that you could do for yourself is.
Let her go.
That is the most loving thing you can do for her. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You're coming from the perspective of what is the most loving thing for yourself, and that in fact is the most loving thing for her as well, yes.
Big, but
Yeah.
a good message.
Yeah.
For your healing. Is that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you feel
Yeah.
comfortable?
Yeah.
Simon?
Yes, we'd like to be continuing to say, because this is something that it affects quite a lot of people in the room, this question, is it is quite possible to make decisions for yourself and understand that the best decision for yourself is also the best decision for all people involved with that, yes. There's a worry a lot of times as a human being that, oh, what if what I decide harms other people? Is it the best thing for yourself? Then there will always be positive reverberations outward from that. People may not like it with their human minds, but that is quite different, yes. If you're making choices from your heart space, from your soul center, and it is most beneficial for you, all it will do is have positive effect, yes.
Thank you, Simon, for clearing that up. You're doing okay? Would you like a drink of water or anything?
We are quite all right.
Okay. Where would you like to go next?
We will be going to the number 8.
Okay, Chris?
I guess the only question I really have is I could use some general guidance. Our lives seem to have fallen apart several times in the last 5 years, and we're trying to reset yet again. And I would like to know if we're on the right path.
Yes. We'd like to be saying that maybe something that may be a bit strange of a thing to say, but how exciting.
Yes.
How exciting, because it is quite helpful to become quite clear. And when you are individuals who shed your skin quite frequently, it is important to have a realignment of the external with the internal, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And there are also a particular choice and just a moment. Yes, there's a particular decision that you each had about 9 years ago. And that in that moment, in those choices, it has allowed for there to be an unfolding that was quite important. And in that importance, are you quite clear on what it is we're speaking of?
Oh, yes.
And how that has led you to the moment in which you are here right now?
Mm-hmm.
And why each one of those pieces was quite integral to be where you are right now?
Oh, of course.
Yes, and it is quite important for you to be knowing that you chose it quite openly and quite strongly as the most beneficial, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, you were guided without knowing you were guided, yes? Yes, and to answer your question, you know the answer to the question. You know that you're making the correct decisions. What's most important for you to be knowing is that there is an augmentation that is occurring. We speak of this often within our work. Augmentation, a period of augmentation, is when an individual is given challenges so that they may become more of themselves. Yes. They are perceived as challenges on the human plane, but they aren't quite challenging when you tune into them as a soul level, yes? It is the material that you are made of and from, yes? It allows for you to become more of yourself. We keep saying this, but it is important for you to be understanding that. There's quite a lot of, we would like to be describing something for you. There's quite a lot of indigo light, yes, interspersed with black tendrils. These are not negative. Very many times people think of black as a negative thing, yes, but that is not what we are meaning in this way. It is quite beautiful. Do you know what we are describing?
No.
Yes, this has to do with your particular abilities. Have you been having more abilities opening up?
Not sure.
Yes. This has to do with electrical conductivity to a certain extent, but it also has to do with the way in which you can, this is maybe a bit of an unpopular thing to be saying, but able to alter memories, yes?
Okay. Yes.
Yes, you are understanding what we are saying.
Yes.
Yes. It is important to allow that augmentation to continue if you would like for it to be, yes.
Okay.
Did that answer for you, Chris? Is there anything else you want to?
No, I think I need to chew on that for a minute.
Okay, yeah, yes. It's a great big answer, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Simon. Where would you like to go next, Simon?
4.
Number 4 is going to be Donna.
Thank you. I'm going through kind of a period of stuck. Nothing bad or horrible, just decisions to make of things that I want more of or less of, or I don't feel like time's running out, but I do feel like I want more that I never knew I wanted before. So, I guess I just need some guidance on how to make peace with decisions and goals and on a personal level.
And the things that you have not done yet.
Well, some of the things I have not done, some of the things I haven't done in many years, and now that I've done it, I want more. So, I've been a widow for 12 years and very comfortable with myself, and now I've made a decision that maybe I want something more. So that's on one level. And well, some of my volunteer work is turning into more of a career, which I never thought I wanted at this age. So there's just different things that are occurring that I'm not sure how to handle.
How lovely that you get to come back to life. Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
But how do I do that?
Oh, you do it by doing it. It's important to be understanding, first and foremost, that the way in which you relate to your experience is incredibly important. You aren't, in fact, stuck. We would like to be inviting you to the understanding that you are in a beautiful stillness with the movement all around you as your life is moving forward. Yes. Mm-hmm. You're in this observational period of time, of possibility. Yes. We would like maybe we speak to the decision to open oneself to companionship and relationship.
Yes.
Yes, there is a particular reason why you are ready now. Would you like me to speak on that?
Yes.
Yes, because the individual in which it isn't a matter of, oh, I'm going to go and date very many people. Yes.
Absolutely not.
It is that there is a particular person whom is also ready for the same thing and has mutually made that decision. And there's an unfolding that will be occurring that has already begun to occur. So there isn't anything much to decide except that you are ready, yes? You have already decided. There isn't anything else to do with that. How beautiful that is. You get to just watch expectantly.
Well, can I do that? I think so.
You wouldn't have decided if you could not.
Lovely.
Yes. Allowing yourself to blossom. There are very many trees and bushes that they don't just have a single flower. They bloom throughout the season, yes. They bloom early and they bloom in the middle of the summer and then they bloom in the fall and they bloom right before winter, yes. And all the blossoms are beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yes. We'd like for you to be thinking about that, yes. And that hierarchically there is not a bloom that is more important or more beautiful than the other, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Very nice. Did that answer your question,
Very much so.
Donna? Yes, beautiful.
Can I ask a question about someone else? Is that doable as a relation of my son? Is that something that?
Yes, we will answer to the best that we can, given his own sovereignty and his privacy, yes.
Yes. Well, he's being very private for many months and might have some concerns. Just would like to know that he's well and figuring it out himself too, if that's a possibility.
Yes, he is well. An intention that can be quite helpful is that when he is ready, he can come to you, yes?
He can.
To open your energy, to open your energy of the softness. A softness is quite important at this time, yes.
I'll respect that.
Yes.
Very good.
And trust the connection that you have with him, that he knows that and feels that. And we would like to be inviting you to tune into your connection with him. You can do this by putting your hand on your heart. Yes? And you just imagine him and you imagine there being a thread to him as you did when he was a small child, yes? And you just think about all the love that you have for him and that he is well. And that is the only option, is for him to be well. And for him to feel that he is fully loved. Yes?
That's my vision.
Yes, and that is what we invite you to be doing, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Simon. Okay, who would we like to go to now?
The number 6.
Miss Glacia.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity. So I'm from Brazil. I'm not American, and I came here because I was in love, and my ex-boyfriend is American. So I came here to Brookings because of him and the expectations to have a family, have a kid. But we didn't work out. And I am leaving the country. I am leaving Brookings soon. So I'm moving to Europe, and I have perspective to live there, a different life, to begin a new life. I mean, like, a new life in many aspects, and relationship, my career. I'm an architect, but also I'm therapist. I work with astrology, family constellation, but I love also architecture. I'm feeling this call to go back this career too. So relationship, I want to find someone special, and I want to have family, and so yeah, basically it's all of these. And if you have some perspective about my new chapter of life, I would like to hear.
Yes, was it an exciting day for so many of you to be here, beginning such a beautiful time in your lives? Yes. For you particularly, what we'd like to be saying is that you came here quite deeply on purpose.
Yes.
We'd also like to be telling you, it is very important to you, you likely know this already, that the family that you'd like to be having, that the children are, the energies of them are quite strong around you, yes?
Yeah.
You have that awareness, yes?
Yeah.
There are 2 of them, yes? And there's an optional third, depending on certain factors. They are there, and they're, just a moment. Are you familiar with the way in which the contracts are happening, yes? With the children? The soul contracts?
I don't know.
Yes. So what that is meaning is that there is a particular, they have another parent as well, yes? These are things that it is already decided. It is unfolding itself, yes? There isn't much that you need to do except follow the piece, each piece, respond to each piece, every movement that you have. That is it. That is all that you need to be doing. It isn't, there are some times that we long for things and we wonder whether or not we can have the thing that we want, yes? But this thing is already decided. Their souls decided, and that partners, he already decided as well, yes?
Mm-hmm.
There are certain alignments that were quite necessary to be occurring. A sooner trajectory was not possible. Yes. And this is quite a painful thing. Alexis understands this is something that she experiences quite often, that she would have liked things to be a different way, in a timeline way, yes. But that isn't the way it is. But we would like for you to be knowing that it is unfolding, that this was the primary thing that we needed to tell you today. And that these children's souls, these soul babies, that they are opening up quite a lot for you right now, so that you can come into alignment with the correct timing of it all, and you know quite clearly with your work with astrology the importance of when they are born, when they are conceived, and all those sorts of things, yes? And that is all unfolding itself, yes? We would also like to be saying on a different topic, is there anything you'd like to be asking us about that?
No.
Yes. They will also be informing you of their names, yes. What we'd like to be saying in terms of the architecture, that how beautifully similar it is to astrology and constellations, yes. It is structure. It is the unfolding of structure that holds, that houses the dreams, yes. Your expression, it's all correctness, it is all there. Gently moving forward with it. There will be quite a lot of unfolding having to do with when you step into those moments of the family. Quite a lot will change once again for you in terms of what it is that you are desiring the most. Yes. There will be quite a lightness to your life, yes. Yes.
Would you like to ask anything more to that, Alexis?
If there's something more that I need to learn to improve myself, to become a better person, and also before to move to Europe, I'm going to Brazil to spend some time with my family, and also could be challenge, but also I want to be ready to go to another level of my development. So I want to have a beautiful time there, and if I have some pending issues with my family that I need to know, that I need to work on before to go there, I would like to know, and I'm open always to develop myself in many ways. If there is some message, I appreciate it.
Yes. There will be some difficult conversations, as you know there will be, yes. Would like to invite you to get quite clear on what your perspective on life is. What are the things that you believe? Take a moment to write those things down. What are your value system? What is most important to you? What are the things you believe in? And when you go there, it will allow for there to be a lightness to it. It will be different this time because you will be clear. There won't be confusion. There are times in which you communicate and there's a bit of confusion, yes, and you wonder, oh, perhaps I should be thinking this way, yes. When you become quite clear, when you allow yourself to have the moment of reflection, this will help it, yes. We would also like to be inviting you to be knowing that your energetics are quite beautiful as they are, and you are in a constant unfolding, yes. You don't need to, in any given moment, you don't need to be anything more than what you are in that moment. And in each moment it unfolds and it builds on each other. But in each moment you are exactly as you need to be, yes. Do you understand the word sufficiency?
Mm-hmm.
You are quite sufficient in each moment, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
Simon.
you.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like we have Gru left.
Yes.
It reminds me of when I was a child and back home in Norway, we were sent to the dentist and I was the last one. It's just so funny that came up.
You like observing.
I do.
You like waiting for the others to have the experience so you can see, perhaps I slide out the door here. Perhaps that dentist doesn't know what he's doing. Perhaps we see how the other children do first.
Yes,
Yeah.
perhaps I can get away with it.
Yeah.
No, I was afraid I was going to forget what I really had in mind when I came in, and I wanted to know if any of my soul family who have passed are around me.
Mm.
Yes. Yes, there are 7 individuals.
Mm.
Are they coming in?
some of them. We don't always do that sort of work. You would like to be communicating with them?
Yeah.
These are not biological families. It isn't all blood related, yes.
That's interesting.
Or are you asking about just blood relations?
Well, that would be my first choice.
Yes, the language that you used was soul families, and we have individuals from all sorts of galaxies as well.
Oh.
There's a very important, that is what we were going to be speaking of. It's very important for you to be connecting with the individuals in which you share a soul blueprint with, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's quite important for you to be on a non-physical level. Do you work with non-physical beings at this time yet?
Not that I know of.
Yes, there's an invitation for you to do that at this time. It is why you use the language that you did.
Oh.
Had you said it in a different way, it would have connected with a different energy. If you had said, oh, my family members who have passed, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you did not. You said soul family quite clearly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And while we understand on a human level that you said that because they're quite loving to you, yes, and they're quite important, the human beings that were ancestrally related to you were quite beautiful, and you meant soul as beautiful, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But those words here, what they were doing is they were tapping into your soul, your consciousness aspect, yes?
Okay.
And that is because your consciousness is ready to expand itself quite further, yes? It is ready to be unfolding certain abilities as well within you. And the ability to connect in and have intergalactic communications. Yes. What I'd like for you to be doing is, we would like for you to be placing a glass of water underneath your bed in the evening. We would like for you to be journaling about how, I wonder what connecting to my soul family would feel like. What would it feel like to be opening up to these other galactic individuals? What would it feel like? What would it look like? I wonder. And you go to sleep, and in the morning you see what it is that you are remembering, and just write again, yes. And do this for 7 days.
Does it come in a dream?
It could come in a dream, but it may come in an awareness, in an energetics. Sometimes individuals are not having dream in what you remember, but there's energetic seeding that is occurring, yes.
Interesting.
This is why it's so helpful to be journaling in the morning, because there are some times in which you don't have the cognitive memory of the dream, yes? It's an energetic seeding, and when you write it, it comes out through that, yes?
Thank you.
Yes.
Does that answer your question, group?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Well, Simon, is there anything that you would like to say in conclusion to the group?
We would like to be thanking you for coming, and all these questions were quite lovely, and we would like for you to be very much pondering the different answers that were given to other individuals. That is, they're all very significant that you were here all together. There is a theme of connection and of family, yes? There's a theme of each of you beginning in a new way, and how beautiful that is. Yes.
Can Simon take some more questions?
I don't know. How do you feel about that, Simon?
We can have a bit more. We would like some water, though.
Okay.
We are complete.
Okay. Okay, if anyone else has maybe another brief question to add.
My
Okay.
question, Simon, is, and so far in the room, we've talked about time, running out of time, and dreams. What is, Simon, what is your perspective on time and mortality versus a big dream we are having collectively?
What is the difference?
Yeah, good question.
Yes. Dreams are quite an interesting experience. There is the aspect, there are times in which you are tuning into another reality experience. Yes. There are other moments in which you are dreaming and the brain is sorting itself out, but very many times you are tuning into another experience, yes? which means in this moment you're tuning into an experience, yes, which is quite a beautiful thing. And there doesn't need to be a differentiation. What you do need to be understanding that something is real if you experience it. Yes. Whether it is a dream or the experience of what you term as waking, yes.
What do you think about the human experience, saying as a human here, we are running out of time? Do you believe in that?
Oh no, that is not quite the way it is working out, yes. Time is an interesting thing. It is a very human thing. It is a very earth thing. It is a way in which it can experiences can be organized. When you're non-physical, when you're not having an experience in a physical incorporation of your form, things are occurring all at once. And there's a lot of beauty that occurs from being human, a lot of the physical experience, and we encourage you all to experience all of the beauty of being physical, yes? This is quite important, and time is one of those experiences, and it is a bit of a difficulty for certain individuals whose souls have not experienced time very often. It is a bit more uncomfortable, yes. But as a whole, in terms of that, the earth is running out of time. It wouldn't. Time isn't real, so how could you run out of something that doesn't exist? Is that a clarity? Yes, very good question. We are at completion at this time.
Okay. So I think we will call it a day then, and we thank you all for being a part of this amazing experience. Thank you, Simon, for all your amazing insight. We appreciate you so much. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, how are we doing? So sometimes at the end we like to just touch base if there's things we want to talk about or ask, like ask me, ask each other, or as if we want to just, then we can do that as well.
Does anybody want to chat a little bit about the experience or anything like that?
I feel each of you is very complete with what you received, yeah? Yeah. I always find it fascinating to, the thread, right? The thread.
It's very interesting that
It
all of
is.
us were kind of on the same page, just a little different. Just a little different.
We noticed that we've had one session here prior to, and it's the groups seem to come with similar questions, similar issues that they, and it's interesting how Simon may be talking to Glaucia, but it strikes in her for you, and so on. So we've noticed that it's no coincidence the people that come and why they're here and how they showed up here.
There is no coincidence.
No, exactly.
No, because coincidence would mean random.
Right.
And it takes away our sovereignty completely. I think it's just we have a disconnection from our higher consciousness and our soul, and so we forget our power is what it is too, in the way that we're interconnected and all of that sort of thing, which is really fascinating. Yeah, great questions. I love the beginnings. It's always fascinating to me sometimes because it very much is like I'm sitting observing, and I'll remember some of it and some of it I don't, but I'm observing it while it's happening. And the emotion connected to what's happening for everybody is always really interesting too. And they'll, there was someone, I'm trying to think. I think it was with you where you were asking about the family question, right? And the dynamics and like all of that stuff. And there was a lot of, you know what, we're going to wrap up.